a 24/7 automated indoor golf franchise.
Right, and they've got 130 open units, so obviously the business model is scaling fast.
Yeah, it really is. But we need to tighten the pitch right away because the current messaging frequently conflates the consumer experience with the franchisee value proposition, diluting the impact for both audiences.
Oh, absolutely. Like when you read through the franchise mastery script and the onboarding overview, you hit this weird cognitive wall.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Right? Because the text aggressively blends B2C consumer perks with hardcore B2B operational metrics in literally the exact same paragraph.
Right, you'll have one sentence highlighting features like, kids camps or the luxury of no ball chasing.
Exactly. Or the immersive experience of playing Pebble Beach. But then the literal next sentence pivots to pitch an investor on a 0% ad royalty or a $50,000 franchise fees.
And low overhead. It's just jarring.
It really is. It creates a highly disorganized narrative that, well, it doesn't seem to know who it's speaking to at any given moment.
Well, I understand separating the audiences in theory, but I honestly struggle with what that actually looks like on the page. I mean, if I'm an investor dropping $500,000 on a commercial lease, don't I need to feel the magic of the product?
I mean, yes, but
Because if you make the prospectus too clinical and only talk about margins, don't you risk losing the emotional hook that, makes them want to buy an indoor golf franchise in the first place? Golf is an inherently passion-driven purchase for a lot of these owners.
it is, yeah. But you have to distinguish between the initial hook and the actual due diligence phase.
Okay, so the promo video is for the magic.
Absolutely. Lean into the magic there. Show the high-definition graphics. Show the friends laughing with a drink. That gets them to request the information packet.
Right.
But once they are reading the onboarding overview, they have already crossed that emotional threshold. Now, their brain is in a highly analytical, risk assessment mode. They are building mental cash flow models.
So if you suddenly ask them to pivot their imagination from fixed cost amortization to like the joy of playing a virtual target game with their kids, you interrupt that analytical momentum.
You actually frustrate the analytical buyer. So the suggestion here is to strictly bifurcate the communication strategy into distinct B2B and B2C funnels.
Okay.
When speaking directly to potential franchisees, you must translate those appealing consumer features into hard, quantifiable operational metrics.
18-hole game takes only 45 minutes to an hour. Now, to a consumer on their lunch break, that is a massive convenience feature. But I shouldn't pitch it that way to the franchisee.
Right. To the franchisee, you frame that purely as an investor throughput metric.
Okay.
You tell them, maximize daily yield with high-velocity 45-minute turnover cycles.
Oh, I see.
Think about the specific economics of a simulator bay. Every square foot of that bay has a fixed cost per hour based on the lease. If a group of 4 takes 4 hours to play 18 holes, your yield is terrible.
Right, you're losing money.
But if the simulator technology allows them to finish in 45 minutes, your yield quadruples. That is the B2B translation of fast play.
It goes from this is a fun place to play to this is a highly efficient revenue engine.
Exactly.
And we could do the exact same thing with the family features mentioned in the text. The documents highlight fun target games with kids and kids camps available to ages 5 and up. I'm assuming we don't want to pitch family bonding to a private equity group evaluating a multi-unit deal.
Definitely not. You pitch the financial result of that family bonding.
Right.
You frame it as diverse demographic appeal that opens up off-peak revenue streams.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We know that commercial rent is a fixed 24/7 cost. It doesn't pause on Tuesday afternoon. Most entertainment concepts die on Tuesdays because utilization rates just plummet.
That makes sense.
So when the materials mention kids camps, the investor doesn't care about the kids having fun. The investor cares that you have a programmatic solution to drive foot traffic during historically dead utilization periods. Monetizing the physical space at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday when the corporate crowd is still at the office is where true profit margin is created.
It's like trying to sell a car dealership to an investor by spending 10 minutes talking about how soft the leather seats are, rather than explaining the inventory turnover rate.
That is the perfect analogy, yes.
So once you've successfully shifted the investor's mindset to pure operational throughput and yield, and you've proven the unit economics work, their very next logical question is going to be, why do I need you?
Right.
If an entrepreneur sees those margins, What stops them from just leasing a commercial warehouse and copying the model themselves? Because the core value proposition relies entirely too heavily on the generic benefits of indoor golf rather than the proprietary advantages of this specific franchise.
Is there a risk that focusing solely on weatherproof 24/7 access might overlook what makes this franchise distinct? Because that was the glaring omission for me when reading the website copy and the franchise overview.
Oh, totally. The documents repeatedly emphasize weatherproof environments, 24/7 access, and, no lost balls.
Right. They are spending heavily on copy promoting the fact that you can play regardless of the rain or the cold outside.
But those are universal benefits of absolutely any indoor simulator. I mean, setting up a bay in my own garage gives me a weatherproofed environment.
Exactly. Highlighting these generic points does not answer the ultimate million-dollar investor question. Why should I pay a $50,000 franchise fee and an 8% gross royalty to the back nine instead of simply buying my own simulators and opening an independent local shop?
Yeah, by focusing entirely on the category of indoor golf, you are essentially doing the marketing for your competitors.
Right.
You're convincing the buyer that the industry is a great idea, but failing to prove that the back nine is the only vehicle to capitalize on it. So the suggestion here has to be centering the entire franchise narrative around exclusive network effects, proprietary automated software, and national brand leverage that an independent competitor simply cannot replicate.
Let's look at the mechanics of the cross-play anywhere benefit.
Yeah, where members get cross-play access at any participating back nine across the country.
Exactly. At a deep discount or even free with an annual contract. That needs to be elevated from a simple bullet point to the absolute front of the franchise pitch.
Oh, interesting.
Think about the churn rate of a typical local golf membership. Someone moves or they travel frequently for work and they cancel. Crossplay creates a national retention net.
Oh, I see. Because an independent mom-and-pop golf shop in Ohio cannot offer its members national reciprocity when they travel to Texas for a business trip.
Precisely.
It also dramatically alters the economics of customer acquisition. I mean, an independent shop spends heavy local ad dollars to acquire a customer. When that customer travels, the independent shop earns zero. But the back nine model allows a franchisee to capture value from transient business travelers who are members in another state.
Yes, and that effectively lowers their localized customer acquisition cost while boosting the lifetime value of the entire network. That network effect is a massive proprietary retention tool.
Yeah, it really is.
It directly justifies the franchise royalty because it proves the tangible value of being part of a larger ecosystem that a standalone competitor can never offer.
I see how national reciprocity works for user retention, but let's talk about the operational side. The material makes a strong case for efficiency by noting the mobile booking app literally lets customers into the building, but again, they just casually mention it as a neat feature.
Yeah.
I feel like they are burying the lead here. I mean, isn't that zero staff capability the actual product the franchisee is buying?
You are entirely correct, and it is shocking how understated it is in the current copy. You need to highlight the specific, proprietary nature of that automated door access technology.
Focus on the system of zero staff automation, not just playing golf indoors.
Exactly. You are selling a business model where a customer can book a bay at 3:00 a.m., process their payment, unlock the physical front door, turn on the simulator bay, play their round, and leave, all without a single human employee being on the clock.
Wow.
Let's run the math on what that actually means for an investor. If you are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that is 168 hours a week.
Right.
Even at a highly conservative $15 an hour for a single front desk employee to manage check-ins, that is over $130,000 a year just to have someone stand there and unlock the door.
And that is not factoring in payroll taxes, benefits, sick days, hiring costs, or management time.
Exactly. Managing software is infinitely cheaper and more scalable than managing human capital. The Backline's proprietary tech stack eliminates a massive annual liability.
That proprietary automation is what the $50,000 franchise fee is actually buying.
Yes, exactly.
Which takes us right back to our car factory analogy from earlier. We've meticulously mapped out the efficiency of the assembly line and the incredible robotic arms doing all the automated work. But treating that proprietary tech stack as your ultimate invincible moat creates a secondary risk that these documents completely ignore.
What's that?
Well, those robotic arms eventually break down. The financial viability argument completely overlooks the inevitable capital expenditures associated with depreciating technological assets.
Oh, yes. This is where we have to look strictly at the numbers. The weakness in this section of the materials is the heavy emphasis on low overhead, minimal staffing, and a very attractive initial investment range of roughly $276,000 to $603,000.
Right, it looks great on paper.
However, the documentation completely ignores the lifespan, the routine maintenance, or the long-term replacement costs of the full swing simulator hardware. Because this entire zero-staff business model relies heavily on these complex machines functioning flawlessly 24 hours a day, omitting the reality of tech maintenance from the financial overview creates a massive blind spot.
I understand the omission, but is it possible they intentionally leave that out because they want the initial numbers to look as lean and attractive as possible to get buyers in the door?
Well,
I mean, from a pure sales perspective, no one wants to read about a $20,000 hardware replacement schedule on page 3 of an investment pitch deck. If I'm a savvy investor looking at a 10-year renewable agreement, won't I immediately question how many times I have to replace these screens over a decade? Does leaving this out make the franchisor look less transparent?
It absolutely makes them look less transparent. It is a common trap to think that hiding those numbers helps, but it fundamentally misreads the sophistication of the target audience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The exact type of multi-unit developers this franchise wants to attract are building detailed 10-year cash flow projection models. They are looking closely at EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. You cannot accurately project your earnings if you don't know the depreciation schedule of your core assets.
Because a sophisticated investor knows that a high-end laser projector running around the clock is going to experience significant wear and tear.
exactly.
Or an impact screen being struck by real golf balls at 150 miles per hour.
Because if a projector bulb costs thousands of dollars and needs replacing every few thousand hours of use, and you are open 24/7, that bulb is burning out multiple times a year.
Yes, they are already factoring in amortizing tech debt. If your prospectus doesn't acknowledge that reality, it doesn't make the business look leaner. It severely damages the franchisor's credibility.
Wow. If an investor looks at a pro forma that shows a 35% EBITDA margin, but realizes you conveniently left out $40,000 in annual hardware replacements, they won't just adjust the margin down to 25%. They will walk away from the deal entirely because the trust is broken.
Oh, absolutely. They'll just assume that if you hide the obvious hardware costs, you are probably hiding structural flaws in the software or the lease negotiations as well.
Precisely. It makes the investor wonder, what else are they hiding from me?
So if I'm looking at a 10-year renewable franchise agreement, I need to know exactly how many times I'm replacing those digital screens over the decade. If that isn't in the model is fiction.
Right. The suggestion here is to proactively address the technology life cycle, maintenance protocols, and replacement costs within the financial prospectus to build trust and demonstrate operational foresight to sophisticated investors.
So how do we actually execute that in the onboarding documents without scaring off a potential buyer? Do we just drop a line item for inevitable broken screens and hope they don't run away?
No. You frame it strategically as a tech refresh and maintenance section in the financial onboarding document.
Okay.
Be transparent about the expected lifespans of the projector bulbs, the impact screens, and the turf. Detail the routine software update costs. Framing this as a scheduled tech refresh makes it sound like a well-oiled machine operating on a predictable schedule.
Rather than an unexpected, terrifying emergency expense.
Exactly.
And this is where we can leverage that 8% royalty fee they mentioned. Right now, to a prospective buyer, an 8% gross royalty sounds like a hefty tax on their revenue. But we can use this tech depreciation reality to create a silver lining.
That is the perfect place to pivot the narrative. Highlight if that 8% royalty fee covers any ongoing hardware warranties.
Oh, right. Does it cover 24/7 remote IT support for the automated booking system?
Exactly. More importantly, does the franchise network offer preferred vendor replacement discounts through their partnership with Full Swing?
Right, because if an independent shop has a screen break, they pay full retail price to fix it.
But if a Back Nine franchisee has a screen break, do they get a 30% discount because of the franchise network's collective buying power?
If so, they need to state that explicitly. That takes a stressful capital expenditure conversation and turns it right back into a massive selling point for the franchise model itself. It proves the franchisor is actively protecting the franchisee's bottom line long after opening day.
It shows maturity in the business model. You want the materials to reflect the reality of running a multi-million-dollar business over a decade, not just the honeymoon phase of opening day.
Let's briefly summarize the three main takeaways to elevate these materials. First, bifurcating the messaging to separate B2B operational metrics from B2C consumer perks so the investor pitch remains focused on throughput and yield.
Right.
Second, shifting the angle away from generic indoor golf benefits to proprietary franchise moats, specifically the cross-play network effects and the zero-staff automation technology.
Absolutely.
And finally, completing the financial picture by transparently addressing hardware depreciation and tech refresh cycles to build trust with sophisticated investors.
The foundation of this business is incredibly strong, and the rapid growth proves the market demand is there.